What if tomorrow morning cash simply stopped working? Not banned, not confiscated, just worthless. Every bill in every wallet, on every continent, overnight reduced to colorful paper. Sounds like a glitch in the simulation. It's actually a thought experiment economists quietly run all the time, and the real answer is stranger than everyone just taps their card now. Because somewhere between hour 1 and week 1 of this switch, a hidden layer of the economy, the layer that only functions because cash exists, gets exposed. And a few billion people discover, in real time, that they were never actually banked to begin with. Here is exactly what would happen. Let's start with what cash actually is, because most people never think about it past money in my pocket. Cash is a bearer instrument. That's the technical term. It means whoever holds it, owns it. No login, no ID check. No middleman approving the transaction. You hand someone a bill, the transaction is done. Final. Untraceable. Complete. Digital money is the opposite of that. Every digital transaction needs 3 things: a network to carry it, an institution to verify it, and the record to prove it happened. A bank, a card processor, a server somewhere humming along in a data center you've never seen. That's the whole story in one line. Cash needs nothing but 2 hands. Digital money needs infrastructure, permission, and a paper trail. So when you say the world goes cashless overnight, you're not just changing how people pay. You're deleting the one payment method on Earth that requires 0 infrastructure and betting that the infrastructure-heavy alternative can instantly absorb everyone who used it. Spoiler, it can't. Here's the obvious take. Cashless is just an upgrade. Rich countries barely use cash already. This is just speeding up a trend. That take is missing something important. The trend toward digital payments has been gradual for a reason. Not tradition, not nostalgia. Infrastructure. Building out card networks, mobile banking, ID verification systems, and digital literacy takes years, sometimes decades in a given country. And globally, a huge number of people still sit outside the digital financial system entirely. Not because they dislike apps, because they lack a bank account, a smartphone, reliable electricity, or a government-issued ID that a bank will accept. For these people, cash isn't old-fashioned. Cash is the only financial technology they have access to. So the obvious answer, just switch everyone to digital, assumes something false. That everyone already has a digital account waiting for them. They don't, which means an overnight cashless switch doesn't modernize the economy for those people. It excludes them from it, instantly. No transition period. Let's follow this forward, hour by hour, because this is where it gets genuinely dramatic. Hour 1. Panic buying, but a specific weird kind. Not people rushing to buy supplies. People rushing to deposit cash before it becomes worthless at banks that were never built to process that volume in a single day. Every teller line on the planet, instantly, becomes the least efficient bottleneck in human history. Day 1. The unbanked population. Again, this is not a small number. This is a meaningful share of humanity, wakes up holding money that no longer functions. Street vendors. Day laborers paid in cash. Farmers selling produce at local markets. Entire microeconomies that run on physical currency simply stop clearing. Goods still exist. Labor still exists. The medium to exchange them does not. Week 1. Small businesses that operate on thin margins and cash flow. Literally, cash flow hit a wall. Many small merchants, especially in developing economies, rely on cash specifically because digital payment processing takes a cut, requires a bank relationship, and often takes days to settle into their account. Overnight, their working capital, the cash in the register that lets them buy tomorrow's inventory, evaporates into a digital balance they can't easily access or spend locally. Week 2. Now the infrastructure problem stops being a poverty problem and becomes everyone's problem. Every payment in the world is now running through digital rails, card networks, banking apps, mobile wallets that were built with normal peak load assumptions. Black Friday, but forever, everywhere, all at once. Systems designed to handle spikes get a sustained surge instead. Outages multiply. Payment failures multiply. And this is where we pay off that open loop from the top of the video. Because here's the twist, nobody accounts for it first. A cashless economy doesn't just remove a payment method. It removes the backup payment method. Right now, if the power goes out, if a server crashes, if a bank's systems glitch, you still have a wallet. Cash is the failsafe. It's the thing that works when nothing digital works. Take it away and a single regional power outage or one bad server crash doesn't just annoy you. It temporarily halts a local economy. No electricity, no verification, no transaction. Full stop. Here's the part that really should worry you, and it's not the one everyone assumes. Everyone jumps straight to hackers. Fair. Cyberattacks are a real and growing risk in any fully digital system, and a cashless world raises the stakes of every single breach. But the bigger, quieter risk is surveillance, not by hackers, but by design. In a fully digital economy, every transaction generates a record. Who bought what, when, where, how often. In a cash economy, that information dies the moment the transaction ends. In a cashless one, it lives forever, in a database, owned by someone, a bank, a payment company, sometimes a government. That's not hypothetical dystopia. That's just what happens mechanically when you remove the one payment method that leaves no trace. No cash, no anonymity, no opting out. And history has already run a smaller version of this experiment. Sweden pushed harder and faster toward cashlessness than almost any developed economy over the past 2 decades. The country's own central bank eventually became concerned enough to actively encourage citizens and businesses to keep some cash usage alive, specifically to preserve a fallback system in case of digital outages, cyberattacks, or crises where the payment network itself becomes the vulnerability. A country famous for going cashless voluntarily slowed down and told people, keep some cash around, just in case. That's the wrinkle. The place that got closest to this hypothetical, on purpose, over years, not overnight, still concluded that removing cash entirely was a risk worth managing, not a finish line worth sprinting toward. You don't need an overnight apocalypse scenario to see this tension playing out. It's happening gradually right now in the debate over central bank digital currencies, government-issued digital money, sometimes shortened to CBDCs. Multiple central banks around the world are actively researching or piloting these. The pitch is efficiency, financial inclusion for the unbanked, and modernized payment systems. The pushback is exactly what we just walked through. Privacy concerns about a government having direct visibility into every transaction, worries about resilience if the system goes down, and questions about what happens to people who still rely on physical cash. Same trade-offs, same tension, just stretched out over years instead of compressed into a single overnight hypothetical. Whether you notice it or not, the slow-motion version of this exact debate is already underway. So here's the whole hypothetical, collapsed into one paragraph. Cash isn't just an old habit, it's a zero infrastructure. Anonymous, always-on backup system that the rest of the financial world quietly leans on. Remove it overnight, and you don't get an instant upgrade. You get a stress test the digital system was never built to pass, locking out the unbanked, stalling small businesses, exposing every outage as an economic event, and handing over total visibility into how everyone spends. A gradual shift toward digital payments can manage these problems one at a time. An overnight switch faces all of them simultaneously. Efficiency, privacy, and resilience. Pick carefully, because in this hypothetical you don't get all three for free. The economy has not changed. Your understanding of it has. You're welcome. Subscribe if you enjoyed this type of content. It means a lot.